Welcome back to A Veil of Crime. Tonight, we step further back in time than ever before, back to the very dawn of humanity itself, to a story that has haunted religious texts, inspired countless works of art, and shaped our understanding of sin, jealousy, and violence. This is not just any crime. It's the first murder recorded in the Bible, the killing of Abel by his own brother Cain. The story of Cain and Abel is found in Genesis 4, verses 1 through 16. Adam and Eve, cast out of Eden, began life in a harsh new world. Cain, their firstborn son, became a farmer, tilling the ground. Abel, the younger, became a shepherd. The text establishes an agricultural society emerging alongside pastoral life, a symbolic tension between the field and the flock. In time, both brothers brought offerings to the Lord. Cain brought fruits of the soil. Abel brought the firstborn of his flock and the fat portions. Scripture tells us that God looked with favor on Abel's offering, but not on Cain's. Why? Interpretations vary. Some rabbis and church fathers argue it was not the material, but the spirit, the sincerity behind the gift. Abel gave his best. Cain withheld his heart. This rejection planted the seed of bitterness. Genesis says, Cain was very angry, and his face was downcast. God warned him, "If you do what is right, will you not be accepted? But if you do not do what is right, sin is crouching at your door. It desires to have you, but you must rule over it." This is one of the earliest portrayals of temptation as an act of force, sin waiting, crouching, seeking to master Cain. But Cain did not master it. Cain spoke to Abel. The text is chillingly sparse. And while they were in the field, Cain attacked his brother Abel and he killed him. No details of method are given. In later apocryphal writings, Cain is said to have struck Abel with a stone or with a farming tool. Regardless, it is the primal act of fratricide, the first spilling of human blood by human hands. God calls to Cain, "Where is your brother Abel?" Cain answers with one of the most infamous lines in Scripture, "I do not know. Am I my brother's keeper?" God replies, "Your brother's blood cries out to me from the ground." Here, blood itself becomes a witness, a voice crying out for justice. Cain is cursed from the earth, condemned to wander. Yet, God also places a mark upon him, both a punishment and a protection, that no one may kill him. The paradox of mercy amid judgment. Cain's descendants, according to Genesis, became builders of cities, workers of metal, and creators of music. But Cain himself became a symbol of jealousy, sin, and alienation. Jewish and Christian writings expand his story. The Midrash depicts him as arguing with God, and early Christian thinkers saw him as a prototype of hatred and rebellion. Abel, in turn, became the archetype of the innocent victim, his blood foreshadowing martyrs and the suffering of the righteous. In the lens of true crime, Cain and Abel is both intimate and universal. A sibling rivalry spiraled into the ultimate act of violence. The motives, jealousy, rejection, pride, they are the ones we still recognize in murders today. The stark simplicity of the Genesis account, paired with the centuries of interpretation, has made this the most infamous case study in human sin. And so we close this chapter of A Veil of Crime. The first murder was not about money, power, or even survival. It was about recognition, love, and jealousy. It was about what happens when sin crouches at the door and we let it in. Cain and Abel remind us that the human story has always been shadowed by violence, and that the echo of Abel's blood still cries out. Thank you for watching. Until next time, stay safe and stay in the shadows.